Hey guys, this tutorial will be looking at how to retain form data when try to validate the form. How can you retain form data? That is what we'll be looking at in this tutorial. So if you fill this form, let's say the last name is Cook and the first name is Tim, other name is not required. But if you didn't fill some other information, let's say the email address is team@mail.net. Then you provided the phone number, you select the gender, but you didn't fill the date of birth and blood group. You provide a short description. Then you click on submit button. Then you can see that all the feeds, all the form feeds you fill disappear. How can you retain form data using PHP? So the date of birth field is required, blood group field is required. Because of these two fields, all what you fill is no more there. How can you retain this data? To retain this data, all what you just need to do is check what to use. Let's check the opening of the form. The method attribute value is post and the action is to itself. So when you fill the form, it's sending the form data to itself. So validation has been done. Then how can you retain this data? To retain data, since you are making use of method equal to post, is going to use HTTP post method to send the form data to the server-side script, which in this scenario is to itself. All what we just need to do, since the data is available in the global variable, super global post or super global request, we can specify value attributes, can introduce value attributes here inside the last name feed. Then we can open PHP tag, just proceed to open PHP tag and close it. Here you can use simple if to check if this super global post index of last name is set. If it's set, post super global post index of last name, you need to check if it is set. Then if it is set, all what you just need to do is to display this by printing this. Make use of echo to print this. So this is how to retain form data for any input type equal to text. So we can replicate this for others, that the input is of type text. First name, we're going to print what we have in the super global post index of email address. So this also covers phone number. So for phone number, or what we just, this also cover phone number. And then for phone number, you specify the value attributes. Then inside, you open your PHP tag and check if it is set super global post variable with index of phone number. So for radio button, radio button has a static value data. So for this, we just need to look at the Boolean attributes checked. If what the value of what you have in super global post index of gender is equal to male, then you can proceed to check this radio button. So we have a group radio button that has two values, male and female. So inside this input feed, you introduce opening of PHP tag, then you have to make use of simple if to check if this uh, is available, just as we did in the other. All what you just need to do is make use of a set built-in function to check if a super global post uh, index of gender, if it is set, then you can begin to compare what you have inside with the static value. Then now you can check, or you just have to do it here. So if it is set, yes, and logical operator and what you have inside is equal to the static value of male. This value that we have here, if it is equal to it, then you need to just echo checked here. That is what you need to do here. You have to echo. Okay, at this point, you check if we set super global post index of gender, and if the data inside is equal to male, which is the static data for this group radio button gender. So we have to do the same thing for uh, the second group radio button for female. Then you introduce PHP tag here and close it. Then within you can now check the same thing, exactly what we did the first one. You can now check if super global post index of gender, if it is set. So that is what you need to do here. If it's set, if it is set, and what is inside is equal to the static data female, then you need to now echo checked that boolean variable. So this will be checked only when the data inside this variable post gender is female. So with this, we've retained data for gender. For date of birth, we just have to repeat what we did for last name, first name, and other name by introducing value attributes. Then you equal to nothing. Then inside you open PHP tag and close it. Then within you can now as well force check by using conditional statements. So if statements, simple if what, if is set super global post index of DOB, that is what will be in the super global post. If it is set, then proceed to display what is inside. You can echo what is inside this. So for blood group, all what we need to do is to select any out of this. This is a static. We had coded all this blood group. Maybe we fetch it from database to be much easier for us. So just as we look through, we can just do the check. But here we have to now do it one after the other. We have to do this one after the other, as in we have to do it for this option, this option, this option, and this option. So I'm going to change this now by putting this in an array so that this will be easier for us to look through, and we can now proceed to uh, retain the data. Let's create array of blood group. Okay, Let's proceed and create blood group array variable blood group. Then we create array. We can use this as well. So the first element of the array, based on what we have here, is O positive, then followed by AB, then followed by A. These are just demo data, and followed by B. So we've created this array, and it is easier for us. The array just have 4 elements, so it is easier for us to look through the array and generate the blood group. So we can open PHP tag here and close it. So with this, all what we just need to do is make use of for each loop to loop through this blood group variable as key value. So this is a numeric array. The index of this is 0. This we have 1, 2, 3. Index of array start from 0. So blood group as key value, the key is the index, while the value is all this data. So all what you just need to do here is just to echo option, and you close the option tag. Remember, option tag has a value attribute so that we can send the data to the server-side script. So here we're going to just print the value, since it's the value we are interested in sending to the server-side script. So let's check if this is working. We'll come here and refresh this. Oh, we have some error here that we need to look at. Undefined constant order name, undefined constant last input. A quote is an index, so there must be quotes. That was why it threw those errors. Okay, this has been corrected. Then for the gender also, let's check it out. There is somewhere we did make use of here. Then we go back to the browser and run this afresh. So let's check out the blood group now. The blood group is well formed. To be certain, let's inspect and check the DOM. And this is it. Just expand this, and we have the value and we have the option test. Okay, so the only thing left is the brief description. We've done date of birth. For brief description, we are making use of test area to capture brief description. So how can you retain data for test area? Test area has opening and closing tag. So here, don't put any space. If you put a space, it will be part of the data. Just open PHP tag and close it. Then within PHP tag, you can use space as you like. So how can you retain from data? You still make use of the simple if conditional statement. And within, you can now check if it's set. If it's set, and what are we checking if it is set? This name of this field is description. If this is available in this super global post index of description, if it is set, then proceed to display this inside this test area by making use of echo. And with this, we've ensured that when you fill all the fields and you didn't fill some of it, the data you filled before will still be retained. So let's test this. So I proceed by filling this team. Let's say cook is the first name, followed by team, and other name if I didn't fill it, or let me just fill it Lee, and email address is team@mail.net. If you proceed to click on submit button, you can see that last name field first name field, other name fields, email address field, data are not disappearing. It's retain this data. To retain this data. So there's only those fields that we didn't fill. So let's check for gender. Assuming this I pick male. Let me just pick any date for date of birth. Then I will fill this brief description as CEO. Then note those ones that I didn't fill, blood group, I didn't fill phone number. When I click on submit now, you can see that the data for date of birth is retained, gender is retained, then this only two, phone number field is required and blood group field is required. But if you proceed and fill the phone number, let's see if this will be retained after submitting this. So it's only blood group field that is required that is not filled. If you look at this, all the form data are retained now. So if I proceed and select B as the blood group and submit, you can see, okay, this is not being selected. Let's proceed, check the blood group out. We've not retained the blood group. Look up, look at this part. We've not, if we check this section, we see that we've not retained the blood group. How can we retain the blood group? All what we need to do inside this option value is to check if it is selected. So we can do this in two ways. Can introduce conditional statements here by specifying that if it is set and the value is equivalent to what we have in this value uh, variables, then you should select it. We're going to make use of selected Boolean attributes. So let's use this approach. We don't want to break out of PHP, then let's make use of this approach. All what we just need to do is to check if it's set super global posts index of blood group, if it is set and the value inside is equivalent to what is stored in variable value. If it is equal to what is stored in variable value, then we can proceed and display this and introduce selected Boolean value. Otherwise, else, if it is not, then print this without selected Boolean value. So this check here, conditional statements here, this condition will check if the post block group is set and if its value is equal to the value stored in this variable. If it is the same, then it will select it. If it is not, it won't select it. Let's proceed to check this out. If you click on submit, blood group field is required. Then let's select O positive and let's see if it's going to retain it. I'm going to remove the other names field. So let's test. Then you can see that it retained the O positive. Other name field, yeah, we didn't validate it. If I remove the first name, then let me select AB here. Then you can see that AB is still retained. Then I'm typing Timothy here as the first name and Lee as the other name. Then I'm selecting female. So when you click on submit, it has processed the form data, then all the form data value is retained. We'll just ensure that all the form data are retained while performing form validation. In other tutorials, we'll be looking at how to process the form data. You need to process the form data. Do you want to start it to database or you want to store it in a file? So thank you. See you in next tutorial. Subscribe to our channel. Bye for now.